In conclusion, and as a final rogue example of this limited dimensional perspective, meeting an emergent, multi-dimensional reality that is forcing its hand, there is no you and there is no me. We live in a world which assumes division. Why? Because that is what we perceive with our five senses, limited sense organs. But molecular study has proven the opposite. It doesn't see it that way. There is a perpetual ebb and flow and exchange of molecular data constantly happening within you and outside of you, interweaving with your environment at all times and many levels. Concurrently, our life support is explicitly symbiotic as well. We need resources to live, and hence the connection to our evolutionarily adapted habitat that basically created us over generational time. There's absolutely no disconnect. In the words of Jacques Fresco, you don't see the plug up our ass, but it happens to be there. And then we have the knowledge level as well, as I alluded to before. We exist in a group mind. Newton did not invent gravity, just as Einstein did not invent relativity. For him to do so, he would have had to invent the whole of mathematical development since the beginning of time, along with all the tools and supporting provisions and everything else that comprised his state of knowledge naturally at that point in history. Every word coming out of my mouth has been learned. We only have the illusion of novelty because each of us appear to originate in seemingly separate pockets of experience in this connected unison that we share. And hence, our supposed creations seem unique and original and novel, but they're only extensions. As stated at the beginning, there's nowhere to hide from the collective consciousness, and we are all responsible for each other. The underlying meaning of this presentation, if you will, is that until human society, again, is able to find a basic, common, working, responsible value set, which we can basically agree upon, which is consistently pinged against the emerging benchmark of our scientific reality, we have a very, very difficult road ahead. Within this context, as we listen to the world around us, I consider the most active value orientation we can have, which almost guarantees an empathetic reaction, which hopefully can maintain this social diligence that's required. I consider the acceptance of our intrinsic unification to be the most powerful form of expression of these ideas, an acknowledgement of the oneness as it is poetically termed. This oneness over division value seems to be the ultimate example, at least this point in time, of our limited dimensional perception being overcome by the multi-dimensional reality. And if properly understood, there could be no basis for war. There could be no logic for greed. There can be no such thing as inefficiency and waste, no basis for poverty. There can't possibly be class. And in fact, as abstract and misunderstood as it might sound, there can be no basis to define you, and there can be no basis to define me. Thank you.